You are to keep my statutes and carefully observe my judgments so that you may dwell securely in the land. We can read these things and it can sometimes seem difficult or confusing and even mentally demanding, especially for newcomers to the Torah path. We read words like Shemitah, Jubilee, Feast of Weeks, Shavuot, Pentecost, 7 times 7 weeks, then the 50th day, 7 times 7 years, then the 50th year. It's in English, it's in Greek, it's in Hebrew. And you may think, this is hard to understand. I didn't do well in school. This is not for me, maybe. I can't get the grasp of this. Well, let me put it this way. If you didn't do well in school and you didn't pay much attention, you're blessed. And I truly mean that. You may even think, I'm not clever enough for this Torah stuff. I'm not clever enough. You may even think that. Well, I've got good news for you. All that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to think you're not clever enough. That's the good news. Only God knows all things. We don't, none of us. Not even the brainy ones. And we do have brainy ones. By the way, there's nothing wrong with being brainy. There's nothing wrong with intellect. I'm not saying that. We've got intellects in the fellowship. Our brother Mark is very intelligent. Joe, my brother Joe here, I know he doesn't look it. But he is intellectual, Joseph, he really is. He is modest and humble about it, but he is an intellectual. But the likes of Mark and Joseph, and others in the fellowship, they deploy their intelligence to aid them in the service for God and for others. So they use that for God's purposes. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with intellect, but what I am saying is that it's not a problem not to be brainy. It's not a problem not to be able to instantly grasp seemingly intellectual matters. What I am saying is that it's not a prerequisite to understanding the scriptures, the Moedim, all these godly things. For me, to know God is a matter of the heart, of the spirit. It's about love. If we think of our creed, which we take from 1 Corinthians, just think of that for a second. What use is there in being a clanging cymbal? Even a clever clanging cymbal. You don't need to be clever to display love. You don't need to be clever to display love. And really, without direction in life from God, man's intellect is futile. And the truth of the matter is, true knowledge is knowledge of Him. True knowledge is just, it's mercy, it's humility, it's service. True knowledge is love and to love. So don't worry if you've ever thought, no, I don't know about all this, it's a bit confusing. Or this is taking me a bit too long to get everything. People seem to get it more before me. I've seen it. And I felt like that myself. The race is not for the swift. Who's it for? For those who endure. Matthew 24. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. He doesn't mention the brainy ones or the clever ones. He who endures to the end shall be saved. So don't worry and never think it's anything to do with head knowledge. You just need a heart and a soul. That's all we need, is a heart and a soul, and everyone has a heart and a soul. Deuteronomy 4. But from there you will seek the Lord your God, and you will find him if you seek him with all your heart and with all your soul. Never in scriptures does it mention that you have to be brainy. Just align your heart and soul to him. Ascend the mountain. Be in the mountain, Bahar, and be in God. You think of the Torah cycle. This is a hat tip to our brother Jack. The Torah cycle itself, we do by year, You're going round and round the mountain. Round and round the mountain. Not in circles like a dog chasing its tail, but in an ever upward spiral towards the summit, to God. By the way, if you've ever seen some of those paths that cling to the mountainside, you see sheep and mountain goats negotiating, don't you? They are so narrow. As it says in Matthew 7, we all know the verse, because narrow is the gate and difficult is the way which leads to life, and there are few who find it. But like those sheep and those mountain goats, we circle the mountain in an upward spiral to get to the summit, to find God, to get to Him. Let's be God's flock, and let's negotiate our way to the true shepherd, the truth, the way, and the life. If you think back to Exodus, when we, the people, we flocked together at Mount Sinai, and we agreed to obey all that God decreed, despite not yet having even heard what was being communicated. Now for me, this wasn't through fear. I used to think it was, but I don't think it was through fear, and it certainly wasn't through our own intelligence. For me, this was through an internal, intrinsic knowing. It was a spiritual resonance which revealed to us that this is God. This is the way, the truth, and the life. I'm going with this. I'm following this. I don't understand it all, but I'm going with this. This is God. And we are His disciples, and we learn from Him. If we understood everything, why would we bother studying or learning? We don't understand everything. Nobody does. Not even the original disciples did. Yeshua repeatedly spoke to them of things they didn't grasp at first. Yeshua even had to open their eyes and ears so they could understand and see. Ask Him, learn from Him, and He will do the same for us. We don't just obey Him if it ties in nicely with how we want to live. Oh, well, I want to live like this, so I'll obey that bit, but I'll leave that bit out. It's got to be the other way around. We don't just obey Him when we feel like it. I feel alright today, I'll do that. We don't just obey God only if everything makes sense to us. It's not a matter of our own intellect or of our own understanding. The child must obey the parent. The parent knows best. We obey because we love God. We obey because we love God. If you love me, you'll do my commands. We read in the book of John. We obey because we love Him. We obey because we believe. We have belief. We have faith. And this is what it takes. Now we consider Abraham in Genesis 15. And he believed in the Lord. And He, the Lord, accounted it to him for righteousness. By the way, Abraham at this time had not yet been physically circumcised. And God credits his faith as righteousness. His heart had been circumcised. Now that's another matter. The matter here is, it's not the mind and the intellect. It's a matter of the heart and the soul. It's about faith, belief, trust in Him. Our obedience declares our faith. 1 Peter, you who believe then, this stone, Yeshua, is precious. But to those who do not believe, the stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone and a stone of stumbling and a rock of offence. They stumble because they disobey the word. And to this they were appointed. They stumble. Why? Because they disobey the word. And then it goes on, but you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for God's own possession, to proclaim the virtues of Him who called you out of darkness into His marvellous light. Once you were not a people, but now you are the people of God. Once you had not received mercy, but now you have received mercy. Our belief, our faith, not our intellect, leads us to obedience. And he is loving and merciful to us. Yeshua made it really simple for us. Even a child can understand. And we are all children, really. He says, Shema, O Israel, love God and love your neighbour as yourself. If we walk in his statutes, he promises that we will live securely in the land. His land, by the way. Hallelujah.